Hello everyone, let's talk about if you worship an idol, being a follower of Jesus, or even if you are a non-believer. For a long time, I have come across people that say, oh, you made this into an idol, or people are worshiping an idol, and I felt like they're using it in the wrong way. I felt like the Bible makes it clear that an idol is more of something that you would have to create, and you would have to make that your God, and then you would worship it. Kind of like a lot of the stories you find in the Bible. And I would have a hard time applying those things that they would say to my life. I felt, okay, I can grant that if I give someone more importance than God, it is like I am putting them above God. And so in that sense, I can agree that that person is becoming something greater than it should be, greater than even God in your heart. A person could be this type of idol or something else that you elevate higher than God, but still I felt like the Bible might not support that whole view of how anything can be an idol and you're worshiping an idol in your life. As I was reading chapter 1 in Finding Truth by Nancy Pearcey, I came across a few Bible verses that I've read in the past, but I haven't really applied it to my life or in this context necessarily, so I wanted to share them with you today. So in the Old Testament, you'll find something, I'm not sure how you say the name. I was trying to avoid saying the name by saying in the Old Testament, but let me give it a try. Habakkuk or Habakkuk? I don't know. I grew up going to churches in Spanish, so I know how to say it in Spanish. I'll have to search it out after this video.
Habakkuk.
But it's in that book of the Bible in the Old Testament. And so it says, whose own might is their God. So although that reference in the Bible doesn't really say it's an idol, is their idol, but it does say it's their God. And then in Ephesians, we also find another saying that says, for that person is an idolater, worshiping the things of this world. And it had to do with Paul urging them not to be sexually immoral, impure, or covetous. So we do have places in the Bible that actually support that view, that it's not just worshiping an idol or a god. It's not just something that you would give a name to it and you would pray to it, or you would do certain rituals to it, but it's something that you do replace God with, kind of like the view. But I guess I was just uncomfortable with the word idol, but I can see how the Bible does make the point that it's not just something that idolatry is not just something that has to do with this physical thing that you were to worship. It was almost kind of an outdated possibility in my mind. I felt like idolatry, maybe other religions that have their statues and they actually go worship it, or But it's even easier to be an idolater. And that's something that is concerning. And let's think about in what ways might we be worshiping other gods, being idolaters, and maybe we don't even notice it. So Nancy Pearcey says something to the effect of idolatry is the sin behind or pushing for every other sin. So let's take the example of sexual immorality. Whatever the Bible defines as sexually immoral, when we make the choice to engage in those things, we are like worshiping the things of the world. We are engaging, we are choosing, we are not living a life in obedience to God and what He says. So before those things are done, there is that idolatry in the heart where you are not giving God His rightful place in your life. So that's the whole idolatry, worshiping other gods, not the one true God. To me, this really is alarming because I can see how easily it is for us in the times that we live in to feel like God is a part of my life, but He doesn't have so much of a say in my life as He has as much say over my life as I allow Him to. The reality is that God has an enormous amount of space, or He should have, in our life. When we worship God, it's not just something that we believe in. It's not something we know intellectually. It's not just something that I said a prayer about. I got baptized. I go to church. It's actually, we are worshiping God with our life. We are giving Him His place as our God, as the one that tells us, okay, this is what your life should be. This is how your heart should behave. This is what should be in your mind, what shouldn't be in your mind. This is how you should interact with other people. God intrudes every aspect of our life, and we worship God by giving Him His rightful place in obedience to Him. So if He says, don't do these sexually immoral things, then as I do not engage in those things, I am, in effect, with my life, displaying to God and to other people that He is my God and that I do obey Him, what He has to say to me. So now think about all the areas of your life where you are not obeying God and you know that you're not. Or think about all the places that you are looking for what you should be receiving from God, and instead of you going to God and making time to have those things in prayer, reading the Bible, studying it, going to church, learning from other people, instead of that, you are pursuing, peace, pursuing entertainment, pursuing love, It's like just affirmation of you. All of those things, when we are pursuing them outside of God, it's like we're not worshiping God in those things. Instead, we are, in effect, going to other things, going to other people to receive those things. And in a sense, isn't that what idolatry is? If we think about it in the physical sense, people would create their gods because they want protection during birth. They want rain. They want a good harvest. And so they would sacrifice, or whatever that idolatry looked like. People would go to those idols in order to receive something from them. And so instead of going to God, the one true God, and seeking Him for those things. So that's idolatry. And if we think about like the heart of idolatry, then we can see, oh no, I am going to all of these people and places, even our phones, our social media, even if these things are good things like Netflix, even if the things are not necessarily bad, but if you are replacing God with those things, I think we know when we crossed the line with those things. I think we know when we are depending on those things more than we are depending on God. And so let's just be humble and honest and give God His rightful place in our life, which is everywhere, in every aspect of our life. God is over every aspect of our life. Looking back at the Old Testament reference, which said that the people had an idol, which was their military power, whose own might is their God. And so if we were to apply this in our own life, are we relying on our own might, on our own capabilities, rather than relying on God's might? And I think that's why we do have so many problems, because instead of turning to God for help, we decide we're going to try to solve our own problems in our own ways, in our own strength. And then we realize, wow, that didn't work. And so I think the best thing we can do is turn to God and recognize that He has everything that we need. If we are lacking in something, He has it. If we are weak, He has the strength that we need. His power is made perfect in our weakness. And it's just really remarkable when you start to do some soul searching and you see, wow, I'm not relying on God in this area of my life. And I would just like for you to take some time to think about that a little more and replace any idols, any gods that you may have with the one real God. And if you're saying, I'm an unbeliever, this doesn't apply to me, I don't even believe that God exists, or that I can know that He exists. Well, it's possible for you to still have an idol, because whatever philosophy you have in place of believing in God, that's an idol. You are replacing God with your own views. So I would just encourage you to not stop seeking answers to your questions, and do not settle for, I haven't found out if God exists in the so many years of my life. Every day that you have here on this earth is another day where you can continue to seek out if God exists. I'll see you on the next video, guys. Bye.